This is C.R.P.H.A, Humanitarian Advocate. This one will be a two-topic video, so please be sure to have enough time to really relax and sit back and listen to what I've been doing, which is telling the American people the truth. The with the aspect of 2020, the election coming upon us. It is almost coming down to the letter for the Democrats mainly, but it's more than a for sure thing for the Republican Party. But of course, the liberal media wants you to believe that it's coming down to the wire for the Republicans because the liberal media wants you to favor the very party that will completely divide the American people in this country. And those politicians that have divided the American people in this country are the liberal Socialist Democrats. Case in point, they had a person by the name of Barack Obama, or at least what people call Barack Hussein Obama. In historical aspects, I do agree that it was mm, basically a historical day to remember of when what many people call, and I hate the label. I hate when people label things and people in general. Um, but it was the very first time that this country has ever elected a an African American inside the to be the president of the United States. Although at the same point in time, he didn't show his birthright to for the base of being in this country because you have to be born and raised in the United States of America before any involvement or installation of any candidacy to be a president of this very country, the very country that this flag represents and has been a positive image of. Um, if you want to call it an icon as well. Uh, but the but Obama kept on bringing up forms that were not substantial, and yet to his administration, mm, they were substantial, they were legal, they were logical, but they weren't. So essentially, that showed the corruption and stupidity and what have you else of the Democratic Party defending a person that went with their agenda. They got they got the goldenrod at the time, as I call it, um, being the White House. Um, but the one thing is that he promised a lot of things. Everybody believed him. At least a good majority of people believed him. They believed him more than they believed Hillary Clinton for the first time. Because I know that when Hillary Clinton was the president's wife of the 1990s, being she was like the first lady at the time, at this point that I'm about to mention, uh, she put into the aspect of something for our younger youth's education when it comes to the public broadcasting stations. Both parties completely laughed at her, humiliated her, didn't and basically didn't see any logical aspects the way she even presented it to them, even in the House. The one thing she didn't do is go to the Supreme Court on that aspect. And also, she didn't go to the ones above the House, being the UN. Because if the U.S. wasn't gonna put anything into it, then the UN would have been able to share it with our allies. But of course, she let bygones be bygones and let it go after a while. If you want to call it that, or if you even want to look at it that way. Then, when she ran to be president for the first time, um, she campaigned against Obama after campaigning against those who lost out anyways in the same party, as well as though and there was still a situation going on with the debate between the Republican Party candidates at the time. And then, of course, the one that was chosen to go against Obama or Hillary was, of course, John McCain. Lo and behold, John McCain lost, though. That is after the fact that the front runner to run against John McCain was Barack Hussein Obama. But yet, um, when Barack Obama was the front runner for the Democratic Party on that aspect, and at that point in time, and it got to the points to where she was later to be appointed as his Secretary of State, being Barack Hussein Obama's Secretary of State. And of course, she accepted it. Therefore, he then turned his not his constitutional health care into the unconstitutional health care, the very health care that Hillary Clinton proposed while campaigning against Barack Hussein Obama on CNN. And I remember this too, because I remember walking into a McDonald's restaurant, I believe it was in Citrus Heights, watching them go campaign against each other. Of course, years passed, while it became more than clear that Barack Obama wasn't going to do the beneficial things for the American people that he promised, even after his second term, even during his second term, I should say. Um, then another particular thing happened. And in this point, it was due to Hillary Clinton's big fuck up. I mean, the woman fucking just didn't have any thought of anything. Thereby, that tells that tells the American people that she had no idea of the way the internet works. Yeah, she knew how to do emails. She may know how to do emails and searches and such like that, right? And maybe buying shit on the internet, like most women do nowadays, especially. No disgrace against women on that aspect because it's another way of going to the mall. Um, but the one thing is, she did not take into account was that the safety and security of of this country's uh, private and confidential defenses and strategies and plans and such like that, right? And the files that the government has, the United States government has on each and every one of us in this country. With that, the fact that there was a threat of that computer, that government computer that she opened and operated and started working on in another country, could have easily been hacked, and it probably was too. From my gathering, there was a risk of it being hacked, and yet she didn't even take any second or third thought of it. She could have waited until she got back on Air Force One, but she didn't. And then that whole thing blew up into controversy, hearsay, all sorts of shit, even through the media itself. That definitely hurt her chances, along with the negative thing that a particular female Hollywood starlet said about her that used to be her friend, or so it was said. The there's been other aspects to it, but the one thing is that if if we have a person in the government to do that type of action, even while working with or alongside essentially a person in the same party as she is, and with the actions that they've been taking, which basically had no true beneficial attribute or anything to and for the American people in this country and our youth, then basically, why would we want a person like that in office as our commander in chief? Thankfully, we don't have to worry about that. Even with the fact that even with the fact that there were people asking her to run again, thankfully she backed away after losing in 2016. Many people think that if that didn't happen, then she might have had a better chance. If the computer thing didn't happen, she might have had a better chance. Possibly. There's a whole bunch of ifs to it, all right. But the whole thing is that the liberal Democrats are not up here logically. They're not using their brains in what Heavenly Father gave them. Listen, in what goes, which would connect with common sense versus corruption. Common sense versus corruption. Common sense versus logic, or basically, common sense is logic, essentially, or it can be essentially put that direction. Corruption is not logic. Corruption versus logic, or logic versus corruption. Yeah, logic versus corruption. It was once believed that the American people were safe and secure with both parties. Aside from the Nixon Watergate and aside from the Carter administration situations and somewhere in between that at some point, maybe not so much in between that, but the after the Watergate and after the high gas prices that Carter kept on saying that he and his administration would be working on to take care of to where it doesn't climb so high, which basically he failed in doing so, obviously. Um, with the corruption of those, plus maybe even after and before that, many people have gone to the points to where they dislike the base of politics. I respect that. But here's another one. What Obama did. That gives many people more than a logical standing to hate and dislike every candidate on both parties to where they don't want to vote, which basically is still their constitutional right. And I will support that. But of course, even with those that don't like it, they still vote. Moderate to maybe small majorities still vote. Even of those that don't like the base of politics, they still vote. And maybe a smaller to almost unheard of percentage don't vote. And those same people are either the undecided, the new to the whole voting process, uh, and or the ones that can't stand politics no matter what they say, no matter what they promise, no matter what anything else, right? Because the base of politics, starting with Obama, he promised the American people loads of shit. What he ended up doing was he weakened our military. He completely fucked over the National Aeronautics Association, NASA. He, in the financial budgeting aspects especially, he completely, raised taxes to the points to where not even businesses would be able to survive, and the base of his Obamacare was more than ridiculous. With the along with the fact that it was unconstitutional healthcare, um, thereby the price tag for any normal American that are on low to moderate incomes to start with were not able to afford it for their families and even themselves. To where a number of them got gone to the points of bankruptcy because they probably felt that that was the only affordable the some so-called affordable base of healthcare. When basically there was other affordable aspects and options, but they didn't have the cost effectiveness to actually go to pull out of there and go into something else, which I understand. Or they didn't think they could do it with the way their financial situations were, with the fact also that the taxes were raised after a while by the Obama administration. Taxes were raised by the Obama administration. Which basically there was a number, and with the base of employment, companies leaving the United States of America due to the high tax aspects, and hospitals closing due to the fucking bullshit of the high cost of the Obamacare insurance that they could not financially support themselves, even though they were federally funded and governmentally funded hospitals and stately funded per state. A number of hospitals were said to be closed and closed. That didn't really put any beneficial, favorable thing for the American people who needed to go to the hospitals, those very hospitals especially. And many of them were back east to start with. And only a small number of them were central to west coast, essentially. A small number, an almost unheard of number. Now we got, and with that, we got Mike Bloomberg wanting to reinstate Obamacare, to build upon it. Little does he know that, or even realize that he can't make Obamacare any better than it was. Hell, Obamacare wasn't better at all. We'll just be dealing if he got his way, if Mike Bloomberg got his way, he would be causing more of a financial, economical downfall, not only for the American people and their finances, their budget aspects, but also for the whole entire country in one fell swoop. And he wants to play praise as if it's a good thing when it's not. Mike Bloomberg is not really thinking up here. He may sound like he is, and he may act like he is, but in logic aspects, he's not. People, he put a commercial saying that, Trump is afraid of Mike Bloomberg. No, Mike Bloomberg fears Trump, and it's true of what I said when when he was over in New York. He's saying he was standing on the ashes of after 9/11. He could have easily been standing on fried, still burning moderately, essentially burning human flesh. When he said he was standing on the ashes after 9/11, he doesn't realize that he could have easily been standing on still surged burning human flesh, and he still thinks that's a positive as he was faced with the situation in New York to when it came to 9/11. Oh, give me a break. The dude doesn't give a damn about human life in the fucking first place if he's gonna praise that being a good thing, and doesn't have the common sense and logic to know that he could easily have been standing on burning human flesh, still burning beneath his feet. Then see, right before the campaign situation of even with the DNC as well as the Republican Party, uh, the the liberal media wanted to use Obama as the base of proud American in the instance of Black History Month. I support Black History Month because it basically the it's a positive thing. Although with many aspects is that the liberal media is using it in the most illogical way. They're using it in the beneficial aspects of the Liberal Democratic Party. And the liberals don't like the fucking fact that a larger percentage of the African American population voted Trump. They didn't vote Hillary. A larger percentage of the female population voted Trump. A larger percentage of every population, even before the millennials, voted Trump. A small majority of women and men voted Hillary. The LGBT community voted Trump. Maybe not so big of a percentage of that community, but nonetheless. Nonetheless. And that was in 2016. I support. I support Martin Luther King big time, and I support what he did. In fact, like I said before, and I know it may sound like a cliche, but it is an actuality that I would, if I could, I would have easily stood right beside Martin Luther King and marched with him. If I was back then, if I was able to go back in time like Marty McFly on Back to the Future, and I went back to that time when they were about to do a march, and as they started marching, I would be right beside Martin Luther King with no hesitation. Each time they've done it, I don't know how many times they've done it, but no. But the basic fact is, also, the liberal media doesn't really have a true positive focal point to and for the American people or this country. All they're doing is a business in informing the American people of what's been going on. Yet, as they do that, they favor the liberal media, the liberal Democrats, essentially. You know, and it's not good. They can't be favoring one side versus the other. The way, especially the way they come out of saying shit, which basically sounds like they're using their personal aspects and viewpoints as well as they report it. They can't do that. In fact, the FCC would should easily put that against them in fining the liberal media by doing that. In fact, I'm putting out there right now that the FCC fine a large fine against the liberal media for doing that, in favoring one side versus the other, especially the way they report it. Now, let's see. With Elizabeth Warren, She used a statement I heard on the news. It sounds like more of a feminist action than it is united a united aspect of an action and statement for the American people. She sounded more like a feminist than a a candidate, which basically can hurt her, being that she used her own female feminist attributes in a statement in saying in her campaign, and it doesn't matter what state she was in at the time, but it can still hurt her. She may not think so, and she may not realize it, but it can, and it does, actually. Biden is becoming too full of himself. He won in one state on the aspect of favoritism in one state, but the one thing is, like I said in yesterday's video, it can all change. Just like it can for Bernie Sanders, it can all change. Yes, he may have been the favored one when it came to the DNC, but it can all change. Although there is one thing that, like I said, that Bernie Sanders fucked up on, and you can never take back Bernie Sanders. In pointing the finger like this and going like this as you do it, by addressing the Russian president, our ally, by pointing the finger as if they are still to be blamed for the involvement of the 2020 of the 2016 election, essentially. And you, by you stating that you, as president, you're going to make sure that that never happens again, dude. This is not This is not the 19th century anymore. This is the World Wide Web century. You cannot, unless you're computer savvy, like a number of my friends that I know, you cannot stop anything like that. Even if it were to happen, I'm not going to say even if it were to happen by any country. It doesn't matter who it would be, or even if it happened at all in general. Bernie Sanders, you just pointed the finger at as a threat towards our ally in Russia. And yes, Russia is our ally thanks to Ronald Reagan. They would have easily been pulling away from being our ally if we allowed Obama to keep on doing what he's been doing. He even promised the defense secrets to our defense system. The very thing that Reagan kept on refusing to put on the table. Obama promised them that he would put it on the table. Bad move there, wasn't it, Obama? That also shows that the liberal Democrats don't give a damn about this country. They don't care if it's bombed. They don't care if if we get incinerated to the points where the whole entire population is completely wiped clean, which would also include the politicians themselves. And they may think, "Oh no, it will be just American people." No, mm-mm. The way things would be going, even in during the Obama administration, believe me, the Russians would have wiped clean of the politicians within the United States of America, and they would not hold back. I know that for a fact. If they had if they had any indication in any thought of completely using our technology, our weapons against us because of Obama. Now, that right there shows exactly American people that the liberal Democrats don't give a damn about the American people or this country. They don't give a damn about even if it happens to our youth. They think that they are safe and secure. They're not. With that, in accordance to the two possible aspects of the DNC winners being right now, as has been said by the media, Biden and Bernie. It is said even by Trish Reagan that that in this country's history, it would be a bad year in history for this country if Bernie Sanders were to be our president. And I more than tend to agree. He doesn't know the first thing about being president. He would just keep on getting things from ideas and whatnot from the party, including Nancy Pelosi, and use and orchestrate and acclimate it in his administration, which basically would completely ruin the economy, completely ruin our defenses, and where it would go, where our employment aspect would go to the shithole. Our educational system would go to the shithole. Uh, Everything that we need even to survive would go to the shithole. Everything that we need to keep us safe would go into the shithole. And with that, Nancy Pelosi says that we now have to support whoever is chosen to run against Trump. They didn't do that with Bill Clinton. They didn't do that um, with Bill Clinton's VP. They didn't do that with Obama too much. Very little, in fact. They didn't do that with Hillary because they knew if they did, then basically they'd be completely laughed at and disgraced, even politically. You could say it's a definite aspect if they did that with Biden and if they supported even Bernie Sanders. They would be disgraced and laughed at, even politically. Which basically would put Trump in the top favor percentage higher than any of the two candidates that were chosen within this month and last month. Which basically would put which basically would put Trump back in the White House. And they don't want to even view that because it's too horrific. But it's true. In fact, Nancy Pelosi said that she declared that they support whoever is chosen to go against Trump. They put full support against whoever it is, even if it is the one that even Trish Reagan herself said who would be the worst choice to become our president, being Bernie Sanders. It would be more than a red letter day, a red letter year and century in the 4-year aspect, especially because Bernie Sanders is the worst choice next to Biden. Mike Bloomberg would be the worst choice next to Biden. Elizabeth Warren and Amy or Anna, I don't really care what her name is, but she would be the worst choice next to Biden. And also would Petey, although I think Petey dropped out. He may have, I'm not sure. I'm not going to say for sure, but from what I gather, I know one of them dropped out in the promise and promising some candidate promised him in the sense of being his VP if he were to back. I believe it was Mike Bloomberg, if I'm not mistaken. The one thing is, they're trying every strategy that that the liberals think they can to better their chances. It's bad enough we have liberal idiots in California thinking that whatever we say as politicians in the California government, the American people in the state of California will go with it. They'll agree with us. Horseshit! I'm part of California. I don't agree with it. In fact, Gavin Newsom, you are to be pulled out of the seat. I don't know if the movement is going on or not to get you out of the seat, but it should be, because I'd support it. And also, here's another one. Darrell Steinberg, the former senator in the state of California, now the Sacramento mayor, or at least at current, from what I gather, and from what my understanding is that before he became the Sacramento, California's governor, or not the governor, but the mayor, essentially. Yeah, the mayor of Sacramento, essentially, is that he kept on saying, even in front of the liberal media, especially, that he would do something for not only the percentage of Californians that are on moderate to low income salaries and incomes, both working and not, when it comes to low income apartment. And he said also, even more so than that, he said he would do something to house the homeless. He hasn't done that. Case in point, I was right in one area. Actually, I've been in many areas where Lonnie Wong was standing right between. To start with, anyway, Lonnie Wong was standing beneath the two overpasses down not too far from X Street in Sacramento. There was a number, maybe a small number of tents of where the homeless were at the time, underneath the overpass, right? He was doing a report possibly on the homeless situation there. And when I was on the light rail in Sacramento, I saw a tent right in between the two turnoff parts of the track. One track going up towards, leading up towards the overpass, leading towards Sunrise and Folsom and Power In, and and also 65th and what have you, and the one heading towards the Consumist College, River College, essentially, and Meadowview, essentially, or what was known to be Meadowview Station at when they first put in the light rail, anyway. Right in between those split offs, a tent on the dirt, right near the roadway. And then one day I was heading over into Sacramento County. Right right on the side of the Sacramento Cathedral Station. I mean, it was right in front of and behind both. It was like I was right. It was like right in front of one station, across from it, and right behind the other, which basically was the cathedral building, the Sacramento Cathedral building, essentially the church. Right alongside that, there was a homeless person laying against the bottom step, moving around a little bit. I have the video of it on my phone. I put it on YouTube by itself. I now have it on BitChute by itself. I have it on one of my description on one of the descriptions of one of the videos that I did, along with adding it by itself. Thereby, that right there shows that Darrell Steinberg did not do shit when it came to the homeless. There is one thing I do agree that I do like, the fact that the homeless are given a chance to vote. Something that nobody thought would be possible, due to the fact that they don't have any real true place of residence because of their life choices, which basically made him go to that point, and a number of them are due to the unsupported situations, due to the fact that they came back from, say, Vietnam and various other wars, right? And various other situations of their choice, and maybe not so much their choice. Maybe actually, possibly more than definitely not their choice when it came to employment situations as well as living situations. Darrell Steinberg also then, later on within the same week after, he declared make a motion to clear the homeless population away from the American River. That part I can understand, but not having a solution for the homeless is not a good thing, because it doesn't take 5 to 6 years for something to actually happen. He kept on saying that he was going to do something for the people with low to moderate incomes when it came to low income situation type of apartments. Only very little happened to that in different counties, not so much in Sacramento County. Not so much in Sacramento County, essentially. And he also mostly mentioned, even when it wasn't indirectly towards the issue, but he also mentioned that he was going to do something for the homeless, in the sense of housing the homeless, to where they can rebuild their lives and everything else, right? And be able to get jobs and everything else. He hasn't done shit to that point of any of it. As I've said in one of my videos, the Liberal Democrats seem to be all talk and no positive beneficial action. Case in point, Obama. Case in point, Darrell Steinberg. Case in point, Jerry Brown and Gavin Newsom. In fact, I know that Jerry Brown had no intent to benefit the American people anyway. He only wanted to benefit himself, to make him look good to to the Democratic Party by raising taxes, by continuing with the project known as the high-speed train project, which basically the price tag kept on getting higher and higher, even while he was in office. But did that stop him? Did it limit him in any way? No. He decided to raise taxes even more. He did, to a very small percentage, which basically made it to where more and more jobs went out of California. With the fact that he also announced that he was going to implement a high tax plan. It was supposed to be good for California, and it wasn't. Thereby, it was really only beneficial for his party. It wasn't really supposed to be beneficial for California or its citizens. Its legal citizens, that is. And then, right after that, about a year after that, he implements something else. Prop 39. Legislation Proposition 39. He advertises it both on radio and TV in different aspects. Two different aspects at the most. Of having youth, our youth and maybe other states' youth, and in the commercial. As he advertises for Prop 39 school funding. Then, right when it goes to the points to where people are actually voting on the damn thing, he goes behind closed doors, and I knew he would do this. That's why I didn't vote for the damn thing. I knew he would do this. He went behind closed doors, and you went through the legislative loophole and changed Prop 39 to his high tax plan. The very fucking thing that the American people that were there watching and listening to him talk as he announced the high tax plan said, even to the liberal media, it would be a bad choice for California. The high tax plan would be a bad choice for California, but that didn't sway him now, did it? Case in point, he didn't give a damn if it was a bad choice for California or not. All he cared about was benefiting himself and his party. To make him look good to his party. The corrupted liberal socialist Democrats. The not so trusted party ever. Even Nancy Pelosi is blindsided with the fact that they're not trusted. As much as they were with JFK, John Franklin Kennedy. With all this corruption and misleading the American people and misleading the future and misguiding the future for our youth and the educational system when it comes to benefiting our youth and the American people along with that when it comes to the base of employment and such like that and many other things and even the economical aspects. Nancy Pelosi is blindsided, not even really viewing the fucking fact that the liberal Democrats are no longer trusted, no longer favored as much as they may think that the percentage of voting. Oh yeah, we're still trusted. We're still trusted. People still voted for Hillary. People still voted for Obama. People still voted for Clinton. People still did, and the percentage of voting doesn't matter. It's the fucking fact that you were that the Liberal Party was trusted in the sense of given a second or third chance, possibly in the matter of speaking. But the one thing is that you weren't the Liberal Democratic Party is not really logically trusted, and it is not even now. It wasn't. It wasn't trusted in 2016, and it's not trusted now in 2020. So Nancy Pelosi can declare to support whichever candidate they have to go against Trump, but guess what? They're going to lose out because they're corrupted fucking political party actions and statements. They're bullshit statements and they're bullshit actions and they're unconstitutional actions and decisions that they've done and allowed. And thinking that they're going by the Constitution by doing that? No, they're not. And with that, Nancy Pelosi has quoted the Constitution in the favor of the liberal Democrats. Basically, she's misquoting it. She's more than misquoting it. And yet she mentions the American people as she quotes it. Even speaks of it. So basically, the liberal Democrats cannot be trusted. Gavin Newsom said a lot of shit during his campaign for governor. He hasn't pulled through with one beneficial, positive thing. Not one. Darrell Steinberg did the same thing to be Sacramento mayor. Sacramento mayor. I think you know where I'm going with this. He didn't do one positive thing. So essentially, they're all talk. No positive, beneficial action. But when Hillary went against Donald J. Trump, she was all talk. Even after the online thing that she did that while in a different in a year in a country that's outside, of course, outside the United States, essentially, with the possibility of it being hacked, which it possibly was, like I said. Um, that plus many other aspects made it to where it was more favored for Trump, and they didn't support her. They didn't back her ass in any way. And now with the coronavirus, they're making a game out of the a very serious virus that can kill people, completely wipe clean of every population anywhere it strikes, and claim that they're going to be increasing the amount that Donald J. Trump put in towards, as if that's a better thing for to do to make them look good. When really they're not really looking at the end result, the end financial economic result for this country. Trump is looking at the end result economically as well as financially as well as within the country's budget. Nancy Pelosi is not, obviously. She's just trying to make her party look better than the Republican Party by increasing it higher than it really has to be because she thinks that that this country can afford a lot more than what Donald J. Trump proposed. If she really looked at it, she would see why Trump put in the amount that he said that he proposed to be brought through the House and the Senate. If she really looked at it and calculated it correctly, she would see why. And she would not be able to disagree with it. She would not be able to do a damn thing. She would have to go along with it. But no, she wants to try to do something in trying to make the American people look like the Republicans are not being logical. They're not really taking full care and whatnot about the virus epidemic or you know or whatever it is, maybe the outbreak essentially. Um, but yet the Republican Party is praising Donald J. Trump because they're using their heads. Obviously, Nancy Pelosi is not. Obviously, that also shows that Nancy Pelosi didn't do well in math while she was in school, which basically leads to many other idiots in the liberal Democratic Party didn't do well in math either. If they're going to allow that little bitch to decide that they're going to increase it more than what was proposed. So in general aspects, that easily puts Nancy Pelosi in a bad viewing. Case in point, also that puts the party of the Democratic Party in bad viewing, regardless of what the liberal media states and how they state it, and regardless of how Nancy Pelosi may say it, or even Chuck Schumer, the little blue pill prick, says it. So, case in point, really, with all of what I've said, it shows that the liberal Democrats don't give a damn about you, American people. Case in point, another one. Gavin Newsom made made it a strong aspect where when we had um, a person that was an illegal that caused a murder that murdered a person, ICE caught him, but by the sanctuary city policy and sanctuary city and state policy, they had to release him. You know what happened there? Same thing what happened in New York. The person was released. Both criminal idiots were released and caused even more murders. Killed even a number of more people in the process. That right there shows that right there should show the American people that the liberal Democrats don't give a damn about your safety and your well-being. They may be all about gun control and all this other shit, but guess what? They're not really about gun control as much as you think. They're not about. If they were about gun control, guess what? Then there wouldn't be any sanctuary cities and state statuses or policies for that matter. The unconstitutional immigrants would be would be deported out of the states of both New York and other states, and including California. And they would actually show an equal, if not higher, percentage of beneficial actions and whatnot for our youth and the American people, even economically, as well as in the base of employment, as well as education, among other things. And when it comes to the housing aspects as well. Think about that. And believe me, if you really think about it, you will see that I am telling you the damn truth. If you don't believe me, and if you are a liberal Democratic voter, you need to really, really take the time to think about it. And don't say that you will, and you really don't. And you only do only so far. And or essentially you do only so far. But yet you still support the liberal idiot Democrats because you believe their phony bullshit promises. Believe me, when I was first in the basic voting process, especially, um, I was new to the voting. I was new to the voting aspect many years ago. Even as children, we hear it. I know that we hear about it. Even not if not by the media, but by the other sources besides our parents and their friends and such. I know that. But also the decisions that have and are made even when we were children. Sometimes it's beneficial, sometimes it's not. And the things that are beneficial don't always come to our own awareness, even as children, because we're not always focused on that as much as our parents are at the point. Even if our parents are not totally focused upon it, it still shows itself in some way or another. So I'm putting what Trish Reagan said. I'm supporting her on what she said because Bernie Sanders is the weakest link. I've said it before. Trish Reagan even said it, possibly, or possibly within the same various. I don't know, but either way, the basic fact is I support her. I support what she said in the sense that Bernie Sanders would be the worst candidate and the worst person for president, and his administration would be the worst in history. Biden's administration would be Joe Biden's would be the worst in history. Mike Bloomberg's would be the worst in history. It's already been proven that Jerry Brown's administration and Jerry Brown in general, and as well as now Gavin Newsom and his administration, and Darrell Steinberg in his administration as mayor, and the first two as governor, the worst in history. Same thing for New York. Little Petey would be the worst for president in history. The two, Elizabeth Warren would be the worst. Amy, or whoever the hell, I don't really care. She would be the worst in history. The other candidates in the DNC would be the worst in history. So, all in all, the only positive one that's been already proven to be the positive one is Donald J. Trump, Republican Party. I know that I know that Donald J. Trump even said that he doesn't consider himself to be a politician. I respect that. But I know for a fact that Donald J. Trump is a family man first, a businessman second, a president third. And he also can reverse that to a family man first, a president second, and a businessman third, if at all. But even if he doesn't add the third part of it, being the businessman, he's proven in a very short amount of time, like I said before, that he's done many strong, positive, beneficial things for the American people and this country and our youth in a shorter amount of time than any other president even before him that's been before him essentially. The liberal Democrats want to reverse that in by implementing what Mike Bloomberg said he wants to re-implement Obamacare. The very one that I've said that bankrupt a number of American people that were on low to moderate income. And Mike Bloomberg said he wanted to build upon the Obamacare healthcare. Bad move there, Mike Bloomberg, and I've said it before. Way bad move and bad choice. If I were to talk with Trish Reagan on live TV, even though it's cable, I would more than honor the chance to do it because she's more than well respected, a lot more than any of the liberal media idiots were, and a lot. I mean, hell, Trish Reagan is more respected than the host of Meet the Press. Hell, what was it? Rush Limbaugh, the very person that is fighting a cancer situation, right? He even before that cancer situation, that he became way more than well respected before he even got the Congressional Presidential Medal of Honor. And if he were to have me on his radio show, I would more than totally honor that, and I would go on to both. I've been even on uh, KFBK with Pete something or other when it came to Jerry Brown. He agreed with me, although I can't remember what the topic was, um, but I know because it was a number of years anyway. But I know he did agree with me. So basically, and believe me, it was nothing positive towards Jerry Brown at all. That's for sure. So now with the whole thing says that Nancy Pelosi has still declared the fact of supporting whoever is to go against Donald J. Trump. lo and behold, they don't give a damn if Bernie Sanders is the worst person and choice, and he would be the worst president in this country's history. They don't care even if Joe Biden was to be the one, and being again the worst president in this country's history, regardless of what both of them say and have said to even the liberal media. That may sound positive to the American people, which basically is a load of shit. The basic fact is there's only one true positive choice, and that is Donald J. Trump and Mike Pence. Yesterday, right after I did one video that I uploaded on both YouTube, on YouTube essentially, actually, um, there was a how to better Sacramento. I've already mentioned one that same day, which was yesterday, and it could be done with the base with inside New York and other states that are being run by the liberal idiots in the state government. And that is get rid of the sanctuary city and state status in the state, in the cities that are declared to be sanctuary cities, along with getting rid of the state status of it being sanctuary, and get rid of the policies of the sanctuary city and state status, and completely get rid of the liberal dumbasses, namely Gavin Newsom at this point, and Darrell Steinberg and many other of their constituents within the state capital, which is the government of the state to start with. And also, that would also have to be done inside New York. And also, we would have to have someone like Donald J. Trump, which would give California as well as New York the best economic standing in each state's history. The educational system would be hell of a lot stronger than it is, and the employment situation would be a hell of a lot stronger than it is in the state alone. Every positive thing that needs to be done and would be done, and that's been done even by Reagan, that would be done in the state alone if we had a person like Trump in the state of California and the state of New York. Like we essentially picture this: we have a person like Trump in Washington D.C. for 2020 as our president. Then we have a person like Trump in the state of California as governor and mayor, if at all. Then we have the same person like Trump, a person like Trump, essentially, in the government, the state government of New York. I can guarantee you, things would be established and run better, and things would be more than beneficial for every citizen in that state, in each of those two states, along with those other states that I did not mention that may have also liberal idiots in the state government. Though those ones that have liberal idiots in the state government were being replaced by a person like Trump, while Trump, the actual Trump, being in the White House. Think about it. Now, let's put the aspect of the president's personal life out of the picture, because what he did in his personal life is not the media's fucking is not their fucking right to fucking dig into. It's nobody's business. Essentially, it's not their business. It's not our business of what Donald J. Trump has done or may have done or thought have been done. That's not the full focal point of why Trump's our president. Why we should choose Trump to be our president. And that's not the no. The basic fact is why we chose Trump to be president. He was well trusted in the business world for one. Now he's well trusted in the presidency because he's done a lot more in a short amount of time in his first term. No matter what backlash you get from the fucking liberal idiots, you know damn well I'm right. So that right there, those two aspects, even mainly if it is the first term aspect, that should show you, and it should tell you, he has benefited those who don't support him, that don't like him, that don't consider him to be their president. They've been economically benefited and educationally benefited in more ways than they may want to admit and even acknowledge. Think about that. Think about that. Seriously. So the only best choice currently is Donald J. Trump for president in 2020. These liberal jackasses don't get that. They don't want us to believe that. They don't want us to go with that. Even the idiots in California and New York don't want us to go with that. But they can't do that. They can't do a damn thing about it in accordance to the Constitution of we the people. They may think that they can, but they can't. Pelosi may think that they can, but they can't. So basically, all in all, with what I've said yesterday and say the week before and the other times before as well, before now that is, and even currently in this video, you should see, you should be able to see the actuality that the only true positive choice is Donald J. Trump for president of the United States in 2020. Much like it was the best choice for 2016 and in 2016. It, Trump is still the best choice for 2020 and the 4 years beyond from now. You should easily be able to tell those in California and those in New York. You should be able to tell what I say to be true. And I know those in New York have dealt with one thing to start with. When the idiot liberal jackass raised the taxes on soft drink sales in accordance to the obesity situation. And I've said that there's better ways to deal with the obesity epidemic or situation in general. And the same goes for the any other situation, including the coronavirus situation that the liberals are making a joke of, obviously, by even trying to defame the president by saying he's not doing he's not taking the thing seriously. Oh, he's taking it seriously. Trump is taking the virus situation seriously. So Nancy Pelosi, you misspoke. You don't know shit. Biden misspoke. He doesn't know shit. Amy or Anna misspoke. She doesn't know shit. What she said in the DNC special. Bernie Sanders, you more than misspoke by pointing the finger and making a ultimatum, almost a a direct threat towards the Russian president, which was a bad move on on your part, Bernie Sanders, which basically can hurt you in the long run. And makes it even better, a better chance for Trump to win, which is a good thing. It is a good thing. So, and also with Elizabeth Warren, what she said in her campaign in between and after the DNC, in pro acting like a damn feminist, that can hurt her, as I said, and it can hurt her campaign. In fact, it is. What Petey said in his campaign, even before and after the DNC, and even during the DNC, that can hurt his campaign. What Mike Bloomberg said, even in his commercials, is damaging to his campaign. More than damaging. What Biden has said is more than damaging to his campaign and to him in general, much like it is for Bernie and Mike Bloomberg and Elizabeth Warren and Anna or Amy or I don't care, but it is damaging to each and every one of them, and it's also damaging to Nancy Pelosi as well as the rest of the Liberal Democratic Party. Case in point, best choice is Trump. The better choice is always going to be Trump because the liberal Democrats are not using their noggins. They're only saying what's been said is like we're only saying what we believe the American people want to hear, but we won't go through with it. Is their mindset? That's the liberals' mindset. They will not do what they promise. They will not go through and actually acclimate what they promise. That would benefit the American people in any way, or even our youth in any way. Just like Obama did. It's a repeat of what Obama did. Even though the fact that Obama got put in office, in the White House, But he showed that he wasn't about to do what he promised. And he even said that his healthcare was going to be unconstitutional. He turned around. He turned his back on the American people and turned it unconstitutional. And the liberal media wants people to believe that he was still trusted and respected. No way. No fucking way. The only trusted presidents that there have been in logic are Reagan, at one point Kennedy, right? But it was Reagan, Bush Sr., Bush Jr., and now Trump. Reagan, Bush Sr., Bush Jr., and now Trump. The well-respected, logically respected, realistically respected presidents. Reagan, Ronald Reagan, Bush Sr., Bush Jr., now Trump. The only choice we have, which is still a strong positive because he's shown it to be a strong positive with only doing so much in so short of a time in his first term that benefits the American people and this country and our youth, is Trump. It positively benefits the American people, it positively benefits this country, and it positively benefits our youth. And it positively benefits everyone in economically, educationally, and otherwise, even in the base of the employment situation. That what many people have said that we need better bases of employment. Even before Trump came in office, bingo. Then suddenly, when we get it, oh, he's not my president. Just because of what the liberal media says, what he supposedly, what is said that he's done in his personal life, when it's really none of our business. It's not the media's business either. Think about that. The proof is in the pudding already, you idiots. Liberal media. The fucking proof is in the pudding that he's benefited the American people and this country and our youth all in one in doing so much in so short a time in his first term. And Trump is that very person. So you cannot defame Trump any longer, liberal media. And neither can the liberal Democratic idiots. And if they keep doing that, they're going to be finding their souls, and when their time is up on this planet, they'll be finding themselves in the pathway to hell after making such of a sinful judgment and assumption. Nancy Pelosi's already leading that way already as it is. Jerry Brown is already there at this point in the soul sense. Chuck Schumer's already there in the soul sense. When they both pass on, they'll be following their souls into the pits of hell. Now the question is, does Bernie Sanders and Tom Steyer and Amy or Anna, I don't care, but there's also Elizabeth Warren and Biden and Petey want to follow the same suit of following your souls to the pits of hell? Or are you going to wake up and realize that Trump is the only best choice in this for this country's history and for the country in general and for the American people and our youth? And which basically means you cannot defame him. You cannot talk down to him. You can't talk bad about him. You can't do nothing when it comes to Trump. Think about that. Neither can Gavin Newsom, and he knows it. Neither can Darrell Steinberg, and he knows it. Because he should know, they both should know by now, I will fucking call him on it. I'll more than call him on it. I've already called Darrell Steinberg on the homeless situation for the state of California. I still have the video, Darrell Steinberg. Even if it's taken down, I still have the video on my phone of what I made the video of on my phone. Proof is in the pudding on that one right there. Now, Darrell Steinberg, you have a choice. You want to face me? Come on. I'll talk to you. You won't like what I say, but I'll talk to you. Same thing with Gavin Newsom. Same thing with Nancy Pelosi. Same thing with Chuck Schumer and the DNC candidates. The ones that I have and have not mentioned. Even the Democratic Socialist jackasses, politicians that I have not mentioned. I'll talk to you, but you won't like what I say. And I don't really care if you do or don't. Because I tell the truth. Unlike the liberal Democratic idiots, the corrupt liberal fucking idiot Democrats. The socialist bullshit unconstitutional jackass Democratic politicians. I'm a strong, self-assured, self-confident human being and humanitarian advocate, humanitarian in general. I support our youth's education. I support many, many positive things. But none of them connect with the liberal Democrats. So, in general, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for watching this video and my other videos as well. And I ask that you keep watching them, and to even as a reminder. Um, I wouldn't say this is the first long one I've done, but it is the first long one I've done that constitutes to both sides, not just the one side. The basic fact is Reagan did many positive things as president, possibly more than he did as governor of California for his time. And he even warned us of the corruption of the other party in his own way. And the other party being the Liberal Democratic Idiot Party. I should say the Socialist Liberal Democratic Party. The unconstitutional Liberal Democratic Party. That have proven nothing but unconstitutional, illogical, non-beneficial actions and more for and to the American people and our youth in this country. Which basically still puts the Republicans in the right, positive light. Which basically it could be seen as favorable, but it's not. But it's the logical step. And the logical choice is Trump. the Republican Party, Trump. Even though Trump doesn't consider himself to be a Republican or a politician in general, is in the same aspect. But the basic fact is, he proved his worth, didn't he? Actually, more so than his worth. He's proved it in the sense that he benefited the American people and their economic standing and statures, and when it comes to the employment situation, especially, as well as the educational situation, and it's building up to be the positive aspect when it comes to our healthcare situation. And also, he's also proven to make it where we're more than well defended with our military. No other president, even before him in either of the two parties, have been able to do it in such a short time, like Trump has in such a short time. Even on his first term, he didn't even fully start his first time, and he's done it. He's completed every bit in a very little amount of time, and the liberal Democrats know this, and they don't like that. Tough shit. The basic fact is the liberal Democrats never really intended to do anything beneficial or positive for the American people, and yet they may claim that they do, but they don't. The only one that the only one that proved that he would do many positive things for the American people that are also beneficial for the American people and this country and our youth is Donald J. Trump. So therefore, Donald J. Trump is the best choice and the only positive, logical choice and realistic choice for this country and the American people and our youth, economically, financially, educationally, and in the employment aspect as well, and the protection defense of in the defense of our country and the protection of our country as well, and for the future of our country and the American people and our youth all in one. So again, Donald J. Trump for 2020 as United States President, United States of America's president. And bye bye Joe Biden, bye bye Bernie Sanders, and bye bye PD, bye bye Mike Bloomberg, bye bye Elizabeth Warren, bye bye Amy or Anna. I don't really give a damn. Bye bye DNC in general and the candidates in general. And soon to be bye bye Pelosi. And if the movement is going on to get Gavin Newsom out of office, I support it. And with that, I would be able to say bye bye Gavin Newsom. The once well trusted moderate Republican mayor of San Francisco, now the totally non supported and not trusted governor of California. Gavin Newsom is no longer trusted and no longer supported by the American people in the state of California. And same thing with with the idiot governor of New York is no longer trusted nor supported. So again, ladies and gentlemen, you can see the fucking fact that I know my stuff. I know reality especially when it comes to on the base of politics. But the basic fact is that it's your choice, Grant. But as an advocate, I pray and hope that you will turn your vote towards Trump to voting for Trump, because you know that he's done many things beneficial for this country in a short amount of time. More than any other president has ever been able to do in this country's history. And it's benefited you economically, financially, and otherwise, especially when it comes to the base of more opportunities of employment and better bases levels and such like that for our youth in this country, which basically leads to a brighter future for our youth. Then think about that. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I will answer them the best way I can. If you have any questions, you can also talk with me on Facebook via the Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger, or also on my Citizen Advocate of C.R.P.H.A. and C.R.P.H.A.'s Humanitarian Advocate page, and even my C.R.P.H.A. education page on Facebook as well, and the Business Advocate page of C.R.P.H.A. on Facebook as well. I will be more than happy to talk with each and every one of you in the U.S. if you have any questions regarding what I've said, even business-wise and otherwise as well. And Trish Reagan, keep up the good work, and I will back you up on what you say, as long as it's beneficial for the American people and this country, and that as long as it defames the liberal Democrats, whereas it makes the liberal Democrats look worse than dirt, guaranteed. And Trish Reagan, if you ever want me to appear with you in a talk, please let me know. Same thing with Rush Limbaugh. This is C.R.P.H.A. Humanitarian Advocate. And of course, as I said, I would add the Citizen Advocate, which I will on the front cover. And I pray that Heavenly Father will guide us all through the right path in our Savior's name. And with that, I know Heavenly Father knows that Trump is the best choice for us, even in the 2020 election situation. Even to have as our president in 2020 for 4 more years. And also, I want to also say, those of the millennials, if you don't believe me of what I've said, look at the history. And if you want to know more, I can easily tell you more. Seriously. I can tell you more seriously what I did, why I say of what I said essentially, and why I've said on each and every one of my videos. I guarantee you will see clearly. So, this is C.R.P.H.A. Humanitarian Advocate. I thank our troops for their service, and those who did not make it home. I still salute you and thank you for your service. And those that are still in active duty, I thank you for your service. And those who were able to come home, I thank you for your service. And even our veterans that did not make it home and that were able to make it home, I thank you for your service. And I salute you. And I salute Donald J. Trump, and I will say, Donald J. Trump, I thank you for your service, and I will vote for you, Donald J. Trump. This is C.R.P.H.A. Humanitarian Advocate. May Heavenly Father again guide us through the right path and to where Donald J. Trump is our president again for 2020 and 4 more years. And may Heavenly Father bless the American people and our youth and the United States of America, and for a stronger America and a better America without the Democrats without any Democrat in office at all, which basically would mean Donald J. Trump would be in the White House for a better America. Have a good day.